Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today and spending a little time hearing about my new fall releases. My name is Sarah, my pronouns are she, her, and this is a channel about the cross-stitch patterns I design and the cross-stitch projects I'm working on. Today, however, is all about the patterns that I designed because I have two new fall releases and my latest freebie to share with you today. So thank you for coming along on the ride. You can find me at ModCross on Etsy, on Instagram, and then links to all the information and all the things are in the description box below. Today is Thursday, October 12th, 2023, and I am so relieved to finally have these patterns done. It's been a fall. If you were here for my last regular Flosstube video, you know how busy it's been and how much I really wanted to have these out in September, but it's not Halloween yet. It's still technically the first half of October, and I am just happy to finally be able to share them with you. So let's get right into it. My first release you have seen before if you've been around. This is Stitch Witch. It was in the 2023 Just Cross Stitch Halloween issue. And it was my first pattern I've ever had in a magazine published. It is 54 stitches high by 55 stitches wide. And the model is stitched on 16 count Heather Aida from Fiber on Whim. It's stitched in DMC 310 and Petite Treasure Braid 34, which is a deep purple. And yeah, so this has been out since July in the magazine, and now I can release it on my own in my own shop. Finished as a regular flat ornament. This trim is from PurplePaperMountain on Etsy. You're going to see more of that, of her trims later. And I still love it. I designed it over a year ago and I still love it. So when a piece is picked up for a magazine, there's usually a spot in the contract that says how long it is exclusive to that magazine. And for the Halloween pieces, it was 30 days. And so I knew that when I could release it as my own pattern that I wanted to add something to it. I wanted to offer a little something extra. And so when I was designing it and I was coming up with the phrases, so it says magical stitch removal and metallic thread dehexing, I had a few other phrases that I kind of brainstormed to fit that kind of old-timey advertisement or wooden sign type feel. And so I wanted to take those and make a second panel that was about the same size to do a needlebook. And so, of course, I designed this in July of 2022 and thought I'll have plenty of time to come up with a needlebook option so that I can release it for fall 2023. Theoretically, yes, I did have plenty of time. I did not get, I tried a couple different times and I had the phrases, but I didn't quite know how I wanted them laid out. And did I need a big motif in the center? I tried to do a frog all sorts of different ways. I had a cauldron for a while, a witch's hat, lots of ideas, and just nothing really worked. And then I sat down, I said, okay, do I just release it as an ornament as it is and have that, now available? Totally valid option, kind of the easy way out. I tend to be a person that thinks of a plan and then gets really, really fixated on that being the plan. And I'm getting better about letting things go, but this one I really, really wanted to do a needlebook. And so I really buckled down and I worked on it and I got it to a point where I was pretty happy with it, but I wasn't quite sure. And so I sent the pattern to my dear friend Maryam at Maryam Crafts. I said, does it match? Is it, would it be, I didn't want the second part to be an afterthought. Like I wanted them to feel like they were a cohesive piece. And she said, you're overthinking it, get out of your head, release the pattern. It's like, thank you, Maryam. That's exactly what I needed to hear. And so I did. So this is the front of the needlebook. It is the exact same as the ornament, except it is stitched monochromatically. So the needlebook model uses all DMC 310 étoile. which was my original idea when I submitted the pattern. And Just Cross Stitch editors came back and said, what about a metallic purple? I was like, well, yeah, of course. If you're going to talk about metallic thread dehexing, it makes complete sense to have a metallic thread. So the pattern is charted with the 2 colors, with DMC 310 and the Petite Treasure braid, including for the back side. But the needlebook model is stitched in DMC étoile monochromatically, so all about the options. And this goes for any of my patterns, and I think most other designers' patterns. They're starting points, right? They're the launch points of inspiration for you to make it your own. So please, they are guidelines. They are not rules. It's very pirates code around patterns. So DM 310 étoile, which I find to be a little bit even less sparkly than other étoile, which is not the sparkliest thread out there, but it is the easiest to work with that I find. So really subtle, but really nice. And this fabric, we have to talk about this fabric. This is 36 count Monster Mash by Picture This Plus. And I've had this fabric in my stash for years because I saw it and I knew I had to have it, but I didn't know what I was going to use it for. And so it was so fun to be able to pull it out and use it for this because I knew, I mean, look at this green. I was going to find something perfect for it eventually, and it just happened to be a model. So I have a little bit left. It was a pretty small cut. So that is the front. We have the ribbons for tying, and this is the back. Crafty corrections, fantastical fudging, and spellbinding service. We have needles, we have spools, and we have the frogs. So I did manage to get frogs in there somehow. So you can see the size difference. You know, this is 16 count Aida versus 36 count linen. So that's it all together. And then the inside. This is not my best finishing job. This is the first needlebook I've ever attempted, and in hindsight, I would have stitched them farther apart and finished them individually, flat, like an ornament, and then had a really thick ribbon kind of, you know, connecting them together as the hinge or as the spine. But again, without getting stuck on the plan, I really wanted it to fold over. I wanted it to be the same piece of fabric and folding over. And so it works. It definitely works. It's not the nicest finishing on close inspection, but it works. It's done. It's done. It's like a real thing. And I think if you were here for my last Flosstube where I was talking about the design process for the Christmas ornament that's in Just Cross Stitch this year, ready for takeoff, I talked about how enjoyable that design process was. It was one of those magical times where your initial vision and the designing and then the model stitching and everything was just easy and it flowed and it all came together. And that's not always the case, and that was not the case here. But as I was stitching this one, it finally came to life. You know, looking at it on the computer screen and even on a printout is one thing, but when the stitches go in the fabric, it really takes on a whole other life, a whole other dimension. And it was really at that point that I was finally like, oh yeah, this works. And so sometimes you just have to stitch it and find out. So luckily it turned out, and I had my first needlebook. So that is Stitch Witch, one pattern, all the things you need, different colorways, lots of options, very versatile, I hope. And I hope that you enjoy stitching with the Stitch Witch. So my second fall release, I'm just gonna show it. I don't really have a lot of preamble to this. This is Pins and Needles. Oh, I love that little Frankenstein face. I love that little Frankenstein face. So this is almost exactly the same size. The needlebook version was 116 wide for Stitch Witch by 54. Pins and Needles is 114 stitches wide by 54 stitches high. Unintentionally, it just worked out that way. This is stitched on 32 count Vintage Country Mocha with 2 strands of floss. There's 6 DMC colors called for. And this is actually my first time ever stitching on vintage country mocha. It's kind of one of those fabrics that it just seems to be used for so many things, and it's very versatile, and I had just never used it before. But I knew my my local needlework shop would have it in stock, and so that was what I charted it on, and then was able to do it. So full disclosure, this was the second pattern that I submitted to Just Cross Stitch for Halloween next year. I was fortunate to have a piece selected, and that's what I was model stitching most of August and September when you didn't hear much from me. And this was passed on, which is totally fine because now it's fine. We're all fine. To release it, and you guys can have it earlier, which I think is great. I did not have the border on there when I submitted it, and so I knew the design looked unfinished. It was still in progress for sure. I was up against the deadline, and I just didn't. It wasn't fully baked, and sometimes that happens, and that's totally fine. I don't usually do a lot of borders. I think because it really makes it obvious if you're finishing a straight or not, if you have a bold border in there. And also I don't feel like I won't say I'm not that good at borders, but it's not my wheelhouse. And so it's something that I'm working on. It's an area that I'm working on. So there's my pin border for my pins and needles. Of course, a Frankenstein's monster looking at you. I actually took a progress photo while I was designing, and so I'll put it in here of the original kind of face, and then the final face that ended up on here, because once I got the text in, I realized the face needed to be bigger, and I started adding some shading and different colors. And so yeah, that's just a little look at how the process went for this one. The trim or back fabric, same as the back fabric on the Stitch Witch ornament. And then I wasn't intending to do trim because I was going to have the pin set. I didn't want to overwhelm that or the design. Excuse me. And I finished stitching up the pillow, and of course that spot where you hand stitch where you put the stuffing in is all wonky looking, and thought, well, maybe I should look at some trim. And so I pulled my trims out, and most of like the chenilles and the eyelash trims and stuff were too much, which was what I suspected. But then I pulled out this Baker's Twine, and I love the look of Baker's Twine. I have a red one as well from PurplePaperMountain, which is where this is from. And I thought, oh, I forgot about this. I've never been able to use it before, because usually when you're putting together, two pieces of mat board to make an ornament, that's just a bigger gap to cover up. But this, because it was a pillow seam, it worked out perfectly. And I just thought it really just framed it a little bit more, because there is a border, but it's a little subtle color wise on this particular fabric. I thought it worked great. So I finally got to use my Baker's Twine. See? So stash is important, people. It'll come in handy eventually, even if you don't have a plan. And then the pin set. This is B, the letter B, Very Afraid, pin mini from Just Another Button Company. And again, all of the details will be in the description box below as well. So I think that's all the stats on it. 6 DMC colors, but easily substituted, look great on a whole bunch of different fabrics. So perfect for your Halloween displays. So I love him. I love how he turned out. This one was a slightly easier on the design process, but still didn't necessarily flow. But I'm so thrilled with how it came out. It's amazing. It's amazing how even if something, it's almost sweeter really when you get the final product that you really had to work for. And it's just, I really love it. I love it. So when I ordered the pin set, I actually waited for it to come in before I stitched the model, because I wanted to match the oranges. And so my original orange was a little bit too bright. I think it was one of the 740s, and the pin set came in, and this was clearly a 922. So changed that and stitched up. And when I ordered the set, I ordered 2 of them because I'm going to give one away. So if you've made it this far into the video, especially considering it's a Flosstube extra, it's all self-promotion, it's all about my own designs, and if you've made it this far in, bless you, you are a quality human, and I so appreciate you. So I'm going to give away an extra set of the pin set. So if you are interested in winning, comment below and use the word boo in your comment, B-O-O. Rules, this is my first giveaway, so I'm going off of what other Flosstubers have said and experienced. You must be 18 to enter because I'm going to have to ask for your address to send you the physical item. Please be 18. Please be a subscriber. If you are here and you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so. It's incredibly helpful to support me and my channel. Please don't use the word free or giveaway or prize in your comment, because that tends to bring in the trolls and the spammers, and I want it to go to someone who is a stitcher and who is truly a supporter of mine, and also I don't want to open up any of you to spam or any of that nonsense. I will never ask you to send me a message on some random app you've never heard of. I will never ask you to send me any money. This is a giveaway. This is a gift from me to you. So if you have any questions at any time, send me an email. My email's in the description box, or leave a comment and just follow up before you click on anything or do anything, please. All I will need from the winner is their address to send them the pin set. So it is open to anywhere that the United States Postal Service can reach. So it is open internationally as long as there's no mail interruption to your area. If it is lost in the mail, I'm sorry, I'm not going to replace it. There's no monetary value attached to the giveaway. That would just be bad luck. But I'm a very small channel, so I'm not able to replace it and redo the shipping if something happens to the first set. So, sorry. I think that's all the fine print. So again, boo in your comment. I'll use the random comment picker and search for that word, and I will announce it at my my next regular Flosstube video. So there we go. Get a little all together shot. It's fall. It's fall. I'm so excited because after I finish stitching this next model, I'm going to do personal fall projects for a while, and I'm so excited to jump in, and I have some Christmas gifts that I need to get started. So I do have one more thing that I wanted to share, and that is a new fall freebie that has gone out to newsletter subscribers and is available to any new subscribers who sign up at the link in the description box. I love puns. I'm just tickled by them, and I'm also on Team Candy Corn. I know that's divisive this time of year. I actually prefer the Mallow Cream Pumpkins, are my favorite, but I'm still Team Candy Corn. And so for my fall freebie, I present to you Handy Corn. Look at her, she is so handy. So I had this idea and I just couldn't help myself. I hope that there's one other person out there in the world who is as tickled by this as I am, because you are my people. So this is Handy Corn. It's a little less than 40 by 40. So super quick, easy to kit from stash. Pick an orange, pick a white, pick a yellow, black, and then 2 browns for the belt and some gray for the tools. You could go silver metallic for the tools. You could go gold for the belt buckle. Make it fancy, make it easy. I just hope that someone else enjoys this. So I have started stitching because I really did want to stitch this one. I'm trying to get better about being okay releasing freebies just as mock-ups, just for time's sake, but I really did want to stitch this one. And so it's been pretty soothing the last couple nights. A little creepy without the black in the eyes, but it's going to be nice and small and adorable. So this is on, it's charted all in DMC, but again, totally easy to kit from stash. And the fabric is a limited edition from Color and Cotton, 36 count. And sometimes when they have off dies or batches that don't quite match what they were looking for, they will list them on their website as one-offs or limited editions. And I saw that there was a limited edition gorgeous green that was in 36 count, and so obviously that had to come home with me. I have a lot of it. I think it's a full fat quarter, and it's going to have this little tiny corner taken out of it. So that's handy corn. So just a little fall smile from me to you, and so hopefully you get some enjoyment out of handy corn. So the last thing that I want to talk about makes me a bit uncomfortable, and that's why I wanted to do it. Talking about prices and money and things tend to be uncomfortable, at least in the society that I was raised in and am currently living in. And when it comes to prices for art and valuing your own work and your own creations, it gets even more uncomfortable for some reason. So I did want to say that kind of my next step in this business, in taking ModCross more seriously and really putting more into it than I had been previously, is going to be approaching needlework shops about carrying printed patterns. So selling wholesale for them then to offer at a retail price. And as I work more toward that goal, I think it would be disingenuous for me to ask a shop to carry my work and then have it listed for a much lower price as a PDF on Etsy or on my own website. And so I've gone through my Etsy shop. I've adjusted my prices to match what they would be at a retail needlework shop. And I was uncomfortable about it, and I didn't want to just do it and not say anything about it. But it also felt really good. It felt like I was valuing myself. It felt like I was saying, yes, I'm not a brand new designer. I don't release a lot of volume. I put a lot of care into my patterns, and really it puts them on par with other work. It's not, going off into the stratosphere. It showed me how much I was undervaluing myself before. And I think what the prices were a reflection of where my business was at that time. And that's totally fine. I don't want anyone to feel bad who has supported me in the past at the other prices. I mean, that's what I was valuing them at. And conversely, if the higher prices kind of takes it out of the range for some people or makes you less likely to buy, that's why I will continue to do freebies. That's why I continue to try and chart with materials that are accessible both in price and amount, especially my full coverages. That's why I really wanted to keep the colors, the number of flosses down, both for ease of stitching and a stitching experience, but also just the cost to kit it up. So I'm just curious to see how this will be received, because it's not something that gets talked about a lot. It's pricing is a very popular topic of conversation in chat groups and in conversations with other designers. And this just seemed like it was time, and it's what had to be done to move forward with approaching retail shops. So thank you for letting me talk that out here. If you've stuck around this long, yeah, I feel good about fully valuing my work and my time. It's kind of it's a big thing for me. So yeah, I wanted to address it without, just having you look at the shop and going, oh, that's not what I remember. So yeah, pins and needles. I'm not really sure how to end this now. Stitch Witch, now available, handy corn, sent to your inbox. I should have a regular Flosstube video in a few weeks. Hopefully I'll have some gift stitching to show and some fall starts and just all the fun, cozy things. I'm so excited for the fall season. It is so rainy and gloomy here in Iowa today, and I just want to stay in and stitch. And now that I'm getting these patterns out in the world, it feels like I can really exhale for a while. These were my last planned ones for the year, and so it's just like, okay, I can take a breath. So I've said it before, I cannot say it enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here, for showing an interest in my work, for wanting to hear the stories behind the designs, for taking the time to spend time with me and hear what I have to say and learn. And please, please leave a comment. Be sure to use the word boo for the giveaway. And just thank you. Thank you so much. So until next time, happy stitching, and do what you can when you can. Bye.